Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot and Astrology. This reading is kind of for April 9th, 2025, but it's kind of bigger than that because there's so much going on. And I know we have a full moon in a few days, and I'll probably post for that. It's in Libra, but I thought I should do this tonight because there's just so much going on. There's too much to talk about altogether. So I was just going to pull a couple cards because I have so much to talk about with the astrology, and then I just kept pulling cards, and I knew they were going to be confusing and weird, and guess what? They're confusing and weird, and so is the energy. I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm finding this very challenging. Now, it depends on your chart, but I think for all of us, again, I've used the word karmic about 1,000 times, but it is very karmic energy. I just want to read one very, very, very quick quote. I was trying to find something that made sense for tonight. And so I turned to the psychologist Carl Jung, and he said, to confront a person with his shadow is to show him his own light, which of course is probably not a new idea because, you know, we've talked about, and I mean, a million people have talked about, like, you know, there's a crack in everything. That's where the light gets in. Anyway, so we have, and I was going to do this a couple nights ago, but I was too tired. We had two, these are called like mini grand trines, where you have, these planets over here are trining, which is positive 120 degrees Mars, and then Mars is sextiling Uranus, and Uranus is sextiling these planets are all together. Look at this. We have 20, I should have written it over here, but I screwed up. Okay, Venus is the only planet retrograde. So 20, well, the north nodes always go retrograde, and south nodes. I didn't write the south nodes in. I should have, because they're conjunct the moon. Okay. We have 24 degrees, 25, 26, 27. And then technically, you know, they're basically conjunct Neptune, who rules the sign they're in, Pisces, but he's in Aries, which again, it throws things off. And then the sun is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So our sense of self, and in the sign of self-identity and our basic, you know, who we are at a basic level, we're getting in touch with wounds for sure. And so I'm going to try to explain it. I'm not even sure I understand it, really. It's so massive. But we have this is the way we approach relationships. And if you think about the word relationship, it really describes everything. We're in relationship to ourselves, to other people, to our lives, to our possessions, to our energy. We're in relation to everything. So Venus is very important, and she's retrograde. So she's doing the back, what do they call that? What do they call that when you're swimming? The backstroke through the ocean here. And she's sort of connected to the collective unconscious, so she's connected to everyone. She's in her exaltation in Pisces, because Pisces is unconditional love, and it's the collective unconscious, and you know, Venus rules the love, the planet of beauty and love, and but she's looking back on things and kind of summing things up, and probably looking at past relationships, like what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? Where did I excel? You know, what have I learned? And then she's right here. Let's see, when does she go? Oh, she goes direct on the full moon on the 12th. So she's getting ready to go direct. Mercury where's Mercury? He just went direct. He's stationed direct for a few days. So he's kind of standing still, not really, but appears to be. So anyway, so she's going backwards, like she's going back into the underworld, kind of going back to retrieve memories and about past relationships. And then she's together with Saturn, who rules boundaries and responsibilities. And you might be thinking about past relationships where you had a lot of responsibility, or maybe where people transgressed your boundaries, or maybe where people had too many boundaries and you couldn't get close to them. It's all mixed up together. And then the north nodes is our path forward. So we're trying. I think it's so weird that the North Node, the nodes always move retrograde, but this represents our path forward. It's kind of ironic. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But anyway, so our path forward is dependent upon. I should say, what we learn here is going to affect our path forward, and our path forward is affecting how we look at things. It's all mixed up together. And it's in Pisces, which is not the most clear sign because it's imagination and, feeling, very much about feeling. So there are no boundaries in Pisces. Okay, then we have Mercury, which is our thinking, and also, he's the alchemical transformative agent. And so he's putting his 2 cents worth in here, and he's just, as I said, gestation direct. So he was retrograde in Pisces, going back to retrieve memories, and now he's processing before he moves forward. Like, okay, what do I want to take with me? What have I learned from past relationships and past responsibilities? Where do I lack boundaries? Where do I have too many boundaries? And then here's the ruler of the sign. And he's in another sign. Okay, so he rules Pisces. So, Liz Green explains it this way. She says, the planets are like gods and goddesses. The signs are their like the clothes they wear, the tools that they have to use, the way they express themselves. And then the houses are their temples. So they're in, well, no, I'm not going to go there because I'm going to say they're in Neptune's temple. I'm going to forget about the houses because that totally depends on your chart. We're not going there. And I wrote this out for tomorrow at 4 p.m. in New York. So if you're east of New York, it's going to happen earlier than 4 p.m. And I mean, again, this is long lasting. These guys are going to be together. They've been traveling together for a while. So this isn't something that's happening just like tomorrow. So I shouldn't say that. I'm goofy tonight. But it's like, okay, so what's the overall message? I feel like the overall message is saying number one, you need to have faith. Faith in what? Faith in yourself. Faith in what you love. Faith in your own reality, like your own capacity to create and have boundaries. Faith in your own path, whatever's calling you. Faith in your... this isn't a great time to have faith in thinking, I don't think, because Pisces is not about thinking. Pisces is about feeling. And yes, it's conjunct Neptune here. And Neptune rules faith and surrender to whatever you believe is a higher power, even if it's just your own heart energy. And then, as I said, the sun's together with Chiron, so there's some light being shed on a wound that affects your whole sense of self. They're going to come together, and a wound is going to be triggered about self-identity. It just is. But they're in good conversation with Uranus, who is in Taurus. You can't really see that. In Taurus, 25 degrees. And so Uranus is the collective consciousness, and it's sudden realizations. And it can be, when it's in Taurus, it can be sudden happenings on a physical level. And look at the world. I mean, what's going on with who in power here, and everything's a huge mess, and all this weird stuff's happening. And then look at I don't know, we don't hear a lot. In the U.S., we're very insular here. They act like we're the only country in the world. Unless I listen to, international news, I don't hear international news. But in the U.S., I know that the weather here is absolutely insane. And that makes sense with Uranus in Taurus, because Taurus is the earthiest of the earth signs. But it's funny, too, because Taurus rules possessions and money, because Venus rules Taurus. And the stock market, is going crazy here. So this is but they're in good aspects. So it's like these changes that are happening on the earth level are positive. Okay, they're not positive, but they have the potential to change everything. Like all this stuff over, I'm not doing a very good job of this, I'm sorry. All this energy over here, for like in your heart of hearts, in your emotional, imaginative, watery, connected self, that where you feel one with whatever you feel one with, that is connected to some very real energy that you can change on a tangible physical level, okay? And that's connected to, in a positive aspect here, we have 2 sextiles and a trine. So it's connected to our physical energy, which is in Cancer, okay? Mars, so Mars is fire. He's in the sign ruled by the moon, and it's a water sign. And the moon is in an earth sign. Now, what was I? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm goofy. I'm really goofy tonight. Anyway, let's stick to this mini grand trine here. So your physical energy wants to do something on a helping level, on an emotional level, where you help someone literally, like feeding them, giving them a hug, and you probably feel like you need a hug and you need someone to take care of you. But with all this stuff over here in Pisces, it's kind of telling you to go it alone, that you have to rely on yourself. And I'm not saying relationships aren't there, but with Venus retrograde, you're not really feeling very supported. You need to support yourself and trust yourself. And I can't really explain it better than that. And the moon is in a square, I think. Is it? Yeah. With Jupiter in Gemini. So this is weird because Gemini is an air sign. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is fire. So we have fire and air, which go together actually, although Jupiter doesn't like to be in Gemini because he's opposite his own sign of Sagittarius, which is higher thinking, and this is more thinking on a day-to-day level. But we have air and fire squaring the moon, which is in Virgo. And the moon is water and Virgo's earth. So earth and water go together, but they don't go together with air and fire. So right now there's a feeling of emotional limitation. Like your thoughts and your emotions are not getting along right now. Not at all. Not at all. You want to think big, but you're feeling cramped. And that's not an exclamation point. That's the line for the planet. I shouldn't have written that so close. Looks like it's 171 degrees. It's actually 17. I forgot to put the degrees. But the moon moves quickly, so it's going to be at the end 23 degrees of Libra in a few days when it becomes full. But anyway, just emotionally, mentally, we're not clicking. And then I think you could be feeling a lot of this weird emotional energy in your body. I would be very surprised if you're not feeling exhausted, kind of weird. You could even be having weird physical symptoms, and things can change very quickly. Like 1 minute you can be feeling kind of like, oh, I'm kind of at peace with everything. This feels good. And then the next minute you think of something or you feel something in your body and it's very sudden and it just changes. Okay, I'll get to the cards now. It's a very strange energy. Okay, and I'm going to move this up because I don't need it there. And I was going to use just like the fairy cards, and I thought, no, they're too weird. So then I pulled Liz Green, the Mythic Tarot, and oh my God, they're so strange. I knew it was going to be weird, and it's never what I expect. Okay, first I said, what's our overall energy? And I get the Hierophant, which is, you know what, I need to make this a little bit smaller because these cards are so darn big. Okay, so overall energy is the Hierophant. So this is higher wisdom. This I believe is, he's Chiron in this deck, which is interesting since Chiron's conjunct the sun. But I think this is the Neptunian too, where it's like higher wisdom, trusting, you know, what information are you going to believe? This isn't, you know, just something that someone tells you. This is like, why is my mind going blank? It's like wisdom with a capital W, okay? There's light here coming into the cave, so you need to trust, and he's the healer. He's the wounded healer. So, you know, trust the information you get from whatever light is shined on the wound, and it's about higher thinking, it's about healing, and it's about who do you trust? Trust yourself. Okay, then this is our energy. And I get the Eight of Cups, which is walking away from something you don't want to walk away from. And again, with all this stuff at the end of the zodiac, we are letting go. We're closing out a cycle. I keep expecting to get the World card, and then I don't. We're closing out a cycle, and we're going to begin a new one. You have to close out before you can start a new one. So, and that's interesting. So there's a woman walking down the stairs, okay? Came out with another woman walking down the stairs. This is Persephone going down into the underworld. In a way, in a sense, Neptune is kind of the underworld because the ocean, and it's the subconscious. She's going down into the subconscious realm. Okay, so it's about going down. I think this is Venus retrograde too, going down. You know, dropping her lilies or whatever these are, dropping her flowers, and she's just, you know, she's eaten of the pomegranate, and then she can't come back for a while. And so this is about going within, going into the subconscious and letting go of everything that doesn't serve you. And there's some things that you're going to have to let go that you don't even want to let go of. It's like learning how to let go and having faith that that's not going to kill you, okay? It's going to hurt maybe a little bit, but it's not going to kill you, and it's essentially for your own good. Then I said, what do we need to let go of? Oh, we need to let go of stability. This is Uranus and Taurus, I think. We need to let go of thinking of the world the way it was, because it's not going to be that way anymore. And your own personal world isn't going to be the same anymore, because this is going to change you on a spiritual level, and anything that changes spiritually changes physically. I can't even talk tonight. Now, this one I don't understand. What do we need to move toward? Maybe this is not letting your thoughts run away with you, because she's very logical and rational. And it's not about thinking at this time, but also it's not about overthinking. So now that I think about it, this does make sense, because it's about gaining control of your thoughts. Because with Jupiter and Gemini, it's very easy to get carried away with overthinking, and that's not going to be helpful at this time. So I think this is telling us to be in control of our thoughts. At first I was like, wait a minute, I don't get it. We got Pentacles and Swords. We're Cups, but the rest of the reading is all Earth and Air. Okay, and then I said, what is our challenge? And I get the Four of Swords, which is basically like not overthinking, calming your thoughts down. So I guess that goes with the Queen of Swords. It's like being in control of your thinking and just sort of taking a pause. Just, you know, just cool it for a minute and don't rely on thinking, because that's not going to solve it. And then it came out with this. These two came out together. Our challenge is also the Ace of Pentacles. In fact, speak of the devil. He's not the devil. There's Neptune, though. There's Neptune popping up from the subconscious realm of the water to give us a gift of something very real. So our challenge is to make something real, start the new project without overthinking it. And it's not so much about making a decision as it is going with your gut feeling. And whatever you dredge up out of the subconscious from the High Priestess going down, that's what you need to grab onto and then make it real. If that makes any sense, I don't know. And then I said, what's our blessing? And I get the Eight of Swords. I'm like, okay, wait. How can this be a blessing? Well, I thought, okay, this is the card where the person has to make a choice between either the Harpies over here, which is not good. Are they the Harpies or the Furies? They've got snakes for hair. I don't know. But they're not great, okay? And then here's Apollo, and he's angry for some reason. So this person has two choices, neither of which he likes. The swords are in front of him, and he can't go forward. All he has to do is turn around and walk away, but he doesn't think of it. So I think what the blessing, I think, here is it's telling you, again, to stop overthinking, and it's telling you you don't need to choose between this and that. It's not about making a choice at this time. You think it is, though. For some reason, I feel like we've been feeling like we need to make a choice of this or that, but we don't, because we can't right now exactly, if that makes any sense. So our blessing is that we're stuck mentally, and we don't, it's not a good time to make a choice right now. So don't. That's the most, if anybody else has a better interpretation of this, let me know, because this kind of threw me. I was like, whoa. Then I drew, this one's long, I drew two shadow cards, and I get the Star. First, actually, this one came out first. The Ten of Wands. Okay, we're clearly overburdened. We're exhausted. And we just want to let the load down. You can, and you need to. You need to just let go and have some faith and surrender. And I keep using the word surrender, and it doesn't mean give up, but it does in a way. You give up trying to, sorry, excuse the crack of my tip. My cloth got dirty, and I can't get my table together. It won't go, so I need somebody to help me. Anyway, so put down the burdens for a while, and, stop overthinking. Stop trying so hard, because it's not going to work. Not with all that stuff at the end of Pisces. It's going to happen naturally. It's happening when you don't know it's happening. Okay, then I also draw the Star. So I'm thinking, okay, we're looking for something to guide us, but we're looking outside of ourselves. And right now, I don't think there is anything. There is, but it comes through you. And you're expecting it to come through other people, or, you're looking on social media or tarot readers like me or whatever, thinking that we have the answer. And you might get some information, but ultimately you have to go with your gut. You have to go with your inner wisdom. I think that's what that's saying. And then just to confuse matters, I drew a fairy card, and I love this one. I think this is perfect for tonight. The Speaker of Truth. Number 13, and I'm just going to briefly read. Oops. And when I picked up the book, it fell open to this page, so. Speaker of Truth. Trust, acceptance, and open heart. Yes, okay. It says, this beautiful man is the speaker of truth. He cannot lie when something needs to be told. When a question needs a truthful answer, he will always speak, going to the heart of the matter and telling you what he has found there. I think that's Mercury stationing direct, and then he's going to move towards Neptune. And I think it's all those planets in Pisces getting to the heart of the matter. And we're going to learn something. It may not be what you wish to hear, but it will be truthful. He can be trusted when you need someone to trust. When the Speaker of Truth appears, ask him the question you most need a truthful answer to, and be willing to accept that answer. It won't always be easy, but when he turns up, it means that somewhere within you, you are seeking the truth. So open your heart to him as he opens his heart to you, and truly hear when he speaks. Okay, we've had a lot about listening lately, and I think that's what this whole thing is trying to tell us, is that, we're searching for the answer. And it's there, but it's within us. And yet, whatever is within us was put in us from something larger than us anyway, and it comes through us, but it's truth with a capital T and wisdom with a capital W, and I don't know how else to put it, so I hope this all makes sense. And please leave me a comment. Let me know how this is treating you, because I'm finding this very challenging. So please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And sorry I'm such a mess tonight. Hopefully I'll be better by the full moon. And I will talk to you later. Blessings. Good night.